Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Racers Driving League Season 13 for round number 17 of the Championship, the Singapore Grand Prix. Only 6 more races to go in what has already been a titanic season of racing, which came down recently to last week's Italian Grand Prix. A brilliant race which saw C1 Tim Pfan close the gap in the Drivers' Championship. He's now up to second position, 22 points behind our Championship leader, Salve Blaze. Landlord is back tonight. He was looking to try and challenge, and it's the second race since the sport update, the sport liveries update for last week. So once again, looking forward to seeing these cars out on the racetrack. Singapore Grand Prix last season threw up a lot of chaos. It was a very exciting Grand Prix to watch, and actually came down to C1 Tim Pfan taking the victory in the end. I'm hoping for his sake he can try and do it again this time around. Right, getting started with qualifying though. Ethan Ed, the Red Bull, already out on the racetrack, making his way through the first sector. Currently up on his teammate Paris T32 in the Drivers' Championship so far this season. 83 points to Paris's 33. So Paris will potentially try and get one over on his teammate tonight. And there's Che Oliver in the McLaren, looking brilliant in that car as always. Came once again so close to taking his first victory last week and trying to close some sort of gap on those championship contenders. I mean, technically, it's not over for him just yet. It's very unlikely that he stands a chance of actually winning this championship. He can definitely close that gap to some extent, I do say. Right then, so we're waiting now for Ethan. It will be the first car round to go for his first attempt on this circuit. I'm not sure why I can't change the... There we go. Now there's Salve Blaze in the Alpine on the racetrack as it stands. The championship leader by 22 points over C1 Tim Pfan, the AlphaTauri, and 23 points clear of his teammate Salve Landlord, who did lead the way earlier on this season, but things have really turned around for Landlord in recent races. He wasn't here for Monza last week. He was being replaced by Lycon, who's driving for the Haas team tonight. And here's Ethan now to start the first lap here tonight in qualifying. So over the line and towards turn number 1, braking around the 50-meter board there on the right-hand side. Staying off the curves in turn 1, but really going on for turn 2 and 3. Good exit. Decent start to the lap, coming towards the first DRS deployment zone on the circuit. Decent exit, keeps it out the wall there. Gear 7 as he makes his way down this straight, slight right-hand curve there as he makes his way towards the split for the first time. 27.1 is his first split. He really gets on the brakes there for that left-hander, nice and smooth. He's done a brilliant job so far. He's kept things nice and clean. Not too much curb use I've noticed in this first sector or so. There are some corners where he's really been on it, and some of them where he's tried to avoid them as much as he can. He's doing a great job of getting as close as he can to those curbs and not hitting them through what was the old Singapore sling, taken out many years prior. And coming towards one of the tightest corners on the circuit. Think back to 2013, Felipe Massa making a brilliant overtake on a Force India here, almost losing control of the car, but managing to save it. DRS now redeployed for Ethan as he makes his way down towards the second sector split now, and it's going to be a 1 minute 4.4, so not looking too bad from so far. So one more sector to go. It's arguably a lot more technical, this third sector. However, I can definitely see him finishing the job here. I want to be on the curbs a lot more. We're trying not to invalidate or put the car in the wall, because that will ruin his lap very quickly. Underneath the grandstand section now, through that little tunnel, and out the chicane, out the right-hander, and into the next chicane. Just 3 corners from home now for Ethan. A couple more turns left, and down this last straight and into the final turn, taking quite a high speed. Careful not to invalidate. He keeps the lap valid in the first lap of the night, 1 minute 37.4, and that was quite a brilliant lap there from Ethan. Here comes Lucky Lambert in the Alfa Romeo, now charging towards the line. Let's see what he can put up here. Over the line, it's a 1 minute 37.6, so just 2/10 off as it stands. And here comes Che Oliver, who's invalidated in his first run, but it's a 1 minute 36.6, and there's got Mercedes going loose in the back there, and that is not JB, that is Curtis Shepherd, who loses control of the car but keeps it out of the wall there and goes 4th fastest. He's lost a crucial number of seconds in that time. Speaking of JB though, I'd like to mention, give commendations to him tonight as he reaches 250 RDL starts over the course of his career. So congratulations to JB, and here's to hopefully 250 more. I doubt he wants to go that long, but let's hope he can mark it with a good race tonight. He's had a decent number of races these last couple of weeks. Currently sits in 8th place in the Drivers' Championship as BJ now sets the fastest lap. Ericsson topped it a second ago for Aston Martin, but BJ's AlphaTauri putting his car a 10th up over the Aston Martin driver there. PJ Keller there in 5th. Webster's just gone over the line to take away 7th. We're looking at Che Oliver now, who's invalidated once again. This first run hasn't gone very well for the McLaren driver. Now, to my knowledge, I'm being told that Iwood may potentially get into the session. He's the one driver we're missing as of right now. In the I can't remember what car he's in. He's in the Williams. So as of right now, only Alvar for Williams on the racetrack. He's on his out lap right now. He's going to let some of these cars through. Just behind him there. Landlord's yet to lead the pits. Where is Salway Blaze? He's back in the pit lane here. So I think he may have gone for a just for a banker lap. And validated came back to the pit lane. Che Oliver now into the pit lane. He invalidated both those 2 laps. Things aren't looking good for him so far. Of course, still hunting, as I say, for that first victory in the RDL. He's come close on multiple occasions this season, including just last week. Of course, a very entertaining race in Monza, including crashes all around. That race won by BJ in the end, and Che Oliver came home in 4th, thanks largely to the 5-second penalty that he had at the end of the race. So BJ went on to win that one in the AlphaTauri, came across the line first, regardless of the penalty. He currently sits on pole position as it stands, so could he try and make it 2 for 2 here tonight? C10P fan currently sitting up there in 4th place on the outside of the second row. He'll have Ethan alongside him for the run to turn 1 if things stay how they are. There's still got a lot of time things change. There's 11 minutes to go. And AlphaTauri looking very nice under these Singapore lights, if I do say so myself, as he makes his way through that 3rd and final sector on the lap. It's a decent looking lap so far. However, whether he'll pit or not remains to be seen. Because obviously he's got less ERS. I'm not sure if he used that on this lap. He's coming to the pits here, so he's calling it there for his first run. Start to see a few guys come out for second runs now. Ethan there in 3rd place. Blaze, the championship leader, back out on the racetrack. He'll be hoping not to invalidate this time. That'll be the most important thing for him at this stage. He's making his way down towards that left hand, as I say, where the old Singapore sling used to be. And there's Che Oliver back out on the racetrack as well. Landlord still yet to lead the pits. JB currently last in the running order on his outlap. And I'm trying just to get my controller doing the button to change the views, but it's not quite working on some cars, so that's why I've been switching back and forth for the last minute or so. Ethan backing off there to allow one of the McLarens through, bring out a yellow flag in the process. Lucky Lambo just behind him there in the other Alfa Romeo. He's currently up on his teammate Touch Pope. He's making a rare one-off in the races driving league this evening. Of course, former champion coming back for another race. He's had to run a limited schedule so far in the last couple of weeks. But it is always nice to see him back in the league and hoping that he can pull off a good race for us tonight. Of course, had a replacement being Prolol in the Alpha. Prolol not here tonight, so Pope being his replacement for this one. Just over 9 minutes left to go now in the session. BJ's AlphaTauri still at the top of the timing sheets. Here comes Alvar through the 3rd sector now. Let's see what he can do. I'm thinking this lap will be down by a couple of seconds. However, I could be hugely wrong. I think I might be hugely wrong here. I think I'll be sitting at 1 minute 37. If we can get it over the line in time. He kept the lap valid. He goes P6. So that's just me hugely underestimating just how quick that last sector goes and how long it actually takes to complete it. So P6 for Alvar with the fish helmet in the Williams machine. And there's PJ Keller running in P7. P6 in the championship right now. Just 3 points off of BJ thanks to that victory last time out at Monza. Touchy Pope currently changed onto medium tyres here. Of course, they have free choice for the race. There is Websy on his outlap, currently sitting P10 for Ferrari. About 6/10 clear of his teammate Courtney Goblin, who once again making another rare appearance out on the racetrack during qualifying. If Paris retires, and is that a yellow flag in some way? There is a Ferrari. It looks like he's spun in some way. I think he. Oh, if I can get to that Ferrari, I might be able to see just what's happened here. Oh, and that's a nasty looking shunt for Paris T32 in the Red Bull. Out of qualifying here without a single lap set. So short for disqualification. He'll be going slow. So Salway Blaze, the championship leader, goes fastest in the Alpine by a good, almost a good 8/10 or so, 7-8 tenths. First driver on the 136s tonight, and that Alpine, when it gets into his groove, could be tough to beat. Be very exciting to see just what he can do. And my controller's disconnected again. I'm hoping this won't be a regular occurrence throughout the night. I'm sitting in a bit of a different position here tonight, and the cable is really struggling as it stands. So sorry about this. But yeah, Blaze now going fastest in the Alpine. And that won't be good for Landlord, who of course already sits 23 out in the championship hunt. Oh, a bit of a skid there from our reigning champion as he makes his way through the final sector on his outlap. Getting ready to go one more time here. Just under 7 minutes to go now in this session. And there is Landlord on the way down towards turn number 1. Be crucial that at the very least he doesn't invalidate on this lap. He's yet to set a valid time. He's been out once or twice. I believe this is his second run. So he's been out once already. Pope out on the racetrack on mediums as it stands. As BJ has just gone back up to second. Che Oliver, 2.5 down his previous time in third. 27.1, the first split for Landlord. We'll keep an eye on this lap as it continues on. Oh, it came very close to putting the car on the wall. Done a great job to keep it out of the wall. Into the right hander now. Nice and smooth. Really all over the throttle. Avoiding the curbs there. And the DRS now being redeployed. Oh, a bit of a skid there at that last turn. He's being nice and careful, making sure not to spin out. He's kept the lap valid. I'm not sure where he's been struggling so far. Paris 232's tyre still just sitting there. Shouldn't be in the way of anyone. It should have removed itself, to be fair. Landlord now at the last corner. This could be a very good lap here. He's kept the car. Oh, and around he goes! And last corner for Landlord, spinning out at the end of what could have been an absolutely fantastic run. P15 for the reigning champion. And my controller is out again. Alright, apologies for that once again. But yeah, Landlord down in P15 after spinning in the final corner, and that is not where you want to be doing it. He'll be no doubt very frustrated himself, but I reckon he's got a bit of time. He can go and bolt on potentially another set of soft tyres and go for it one last time. If he can save VRS on this lap, he might have a chance to go it again. JB going over the line, puts himself P12 of the Mercedes. Pope coming back into pits after the lap on mediums. Don't really do much good. 010P from back up into third. BJ into the pits as well. Che Oliver now on an out lap, as is Salve Blaze. Now Blaze and Oliver have been going at it. It's been a real battle between these two. Great drivers duel over the course of this season so far. Especially in the last few races. Think back to Zandvoort a couple of weeks ago. So it's been brilliant. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing that this duel can continue. They'll have the Alpha Tauris in between them should things stay as they are. And keep an eye on the Aston Martins there. Zach Ericsson and Zach Sherman have gone very much under the radar since Ericsson set provisional pole earlier on in the session. And I'm reading now that Pope has forgotten the rule that you don't have to start on your qualifying tyre, so he can now go on softs if you want to. Of course, Pope always won to take the alternate strategy, as he so often loves to do. It's won in races in the past, and to my knowledge, may have been an important, integral part in winning the Drivers' Championship back in season number 11. Of course, by the time I arrived to the league, the title was already decided, so I can't guarantee that. 3 minutes to go now. Oliver over the line. It's been a slow lap for him. He's backed off considerably, but he's really going to go for it now. I'm realising again that was his out lap and the game is still glitchy like that. Which, you know, we'll keep an eye on Blaze and on Oliver as those two make what could be their final run. There is one of the Aston Martins just in front. JB retiring from the session. And there's a crash as Che Oliver's out. Che Oliver's out of the session. What has happened to him? He's lost the car at the exit of midway through turn number 3, and that is Oliver out on that little straight between 3 and 4. Che Oliver out of qualifying. P4 will be the best he can hope for. And Blaze now has just a little bit less stress on his mind now. Oh, and there goes Landlord as well. Salve Landlord spinning, and Lucky Lambert also retiring. Oh, there goes one of the Red Bulls, I believe. Or it may have been the Williams, narrowly missing. As I already know in the session. And the rain is starting to fall. Blaze retires. He's still going, but he's retired from the session on the track. Landlord also retiring. I think that could be the end of qualifying. This late shower, all of a sudden, spelling an end to this session. For a number of drivers here. Won't be surprised to see Ethan in the Red Bull also lose it at this corner. He's managed to keep the car rolling. He has to be very careful, essentially tiptoe around this final sector. Yellow flags all over the shop as Landlord has pulled the car over. His AI has pulled the car over to retire from qualifying. Ethan won't improve. He's coming into the pits, and you can definitely see the rain now. That might just be the end of it here. Unsure as to whether this could be foreboding for the race itself. But it's brought about an end to Che Oliver's bid for pole position. And Landlord could not be in a much worse situation. His two championship rivals up there in P1 and P3, while he sits back in 18th on the grid. However, this is Singapore. Anything can still happen. In the RDL, it definitely does. So I wouldn't put it past anyone. And I'm thinking we'll see most drivers retiring the session. There goes Pope spinning the car. Going into the right-hander. And you can definitely see a lot of the rain on the track now. Not a ton of standing water. However, you can definitely see the rain coming down rather hard now with the looks of things. So Pope then, more or less, everyone's got to call it quits more or less in qualifying. No one will improve at this stage in the session. You can see all the rain there pelting the track. Once everyone gets back to the pits, that's when they'll call it a day. So then, it looks like Silver Blaze is on pole position. Then the checkered flag has now fallen. Blaze on pole. BJ, last week's winner, alongside him, looking to go 2 for 2 in the last 2 weeks. Alongside him in second place. C110 P-Fan third. Che Oliver fourth. Ericsson fifth. Zach Sherman sixth. Ethan seventh. Webbsy eighth. Lucky Lambert ninth. And Alvar gets his car in the top 10. PJ Caleb will start to the inside of row 6. JB 12th. Pope on his return comes home 13th. Lycon 14th. Curtis in 15th. Cotley Goblin set a lap in qualifying. He'll start 16th. Iwaldy 17th. And Landlord 18th. Sniper Hunter 19th. Retired at start qualifying. And Paris T32 will start this race from dead last. That is it for the moment for qualifying. We'll be back in just a few minutes' time for the start of the race itself. So don't go anywhere, because if this rain is anything to go by, then it could be a very, very entertaining Grand Prix. So look forward to it. Okay, so here we go again. Welcome back to the Racers Driving League for Season 13, Round 17 of the Championship. This is the Singapore Grand Prix. Brilliant qualifying session we just witnessed. And if that rain later on was anything to go by, could we see a potential shower later on in the Grand Prix? We've got just 2 minutes now until the race gets underway. It should be a very exciting one. To remind you of the situation in the Drivers' Championship, Salve Blaze still leads the way, now by 22 points over C110P Fan, who takes second place after his finish last week in Monza. And Salve Landlord sits in third with 23 points off the top. Che Oliver there in fourth. It's very, very unlikely that he'll actually manage to win the championship, with him being a good 60, 70 points out of the lead. But anything could still change. If he can get himself a win on the board, that could really help his case. He starts from P4 today. He crashed late on in qualifying. However, that rain shower has really helped him here, because potentially we could have seen drivers improve their times when he didn't. So there was always a chance of that happening. So he can count himself lucky that he didn't. However, he's still got a race to navigate here, and that can be tricky. Now, the weather forecast is showing potential signs of rain for this one. However, not sure when that rain will come. And if it does, will it stick around to the end? That's the question that everyone's going to be asking over the course of this race, or at least the drivers. I know I'd definitely like to know. And hopefully tonight, because we've seen a righteous number of safety cars in these last couple of weeks. And hopefully tonight, I'm potentially asking for too much here, given the fact that this is Singapore in the RDL. However, hopefully, I'm hoping that these safety cars are limited a bit. Everyone can race each other nice and clean. But with that wet weather, because everyone obviously tries to race as clean as they can week after week. But sometimes these incidents do happen. As we enter the final 30 seconds now for the start of the formation laps, we're hoping that the safety cars are limited tonight. We can get some good racing. However, the strategy could play in some drivers' hands should we see that Mercedes safety car on the racetrack. This is going to be a very entertaining race indeed.
The formation lap gets underway, and every driver will be looking to settle in for the race ahead, making sure that their car is ready for the battle once the lights go out.
So here we go then, there are the starting tyres for this race. The majority of cars looking at the hards, a total of 6 drivers starting on mediums.
We're almost ready to start the race as the cars take their positions on the grid, with the drivers and teams making their final preparations.
So there is Salve Blaze, the championship leader and the pole setter, leading them to the line for the start of the Singapore Grand Prix. Now, one thing I do want to make clear, at least in terms of tyre choice, Blaze starts on the hards, but BJ starts on the mediums. Could that help last week's winner in the AlphaTauri get off the line better and try and build a lead in that first stint? It all depends on when the rain comes down, because if it takes its time to make its way on towards the circuit, then the hard tyre runners could be in luck, and those medium tyre runners taking a huge gamble here. But it all could come down to who actually makes it to the first turn alive. I see Landlord there, 18th on the grid. He's looking to try and fight his way up through the order. So here we go now for 5 red lights. Waiting for those lights to come on. There they are. 5 red lights for the Singapore Grand Prix. 6 rounds to go in the Racers Driving League Season 13. Lights out, foot to the floor. Go, 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 go. Great getaway from Blaze there. Decent start as well from BJ on your right on the way to turn 1. It's BJ and the AlphaTauri has the edge. But Blaze sweeps it around the outside and there's contact. And there goes BJ spinning off in turn 1. And there goes one of the Red Bulls with it. That's Paris T32. Who's, I believe, is falling down the order. No, sorry, that's Ethan is falling down the order. An unfortunate first lap collision there involving a number of cars. BJ now alongside the Alpine. He didn't want to be alongside. There's more contact further back, and that is the Haas of Lycon who's gone off. Been forced on in some way. Up front, Blaze now as a lead. Here goes Oliver to the inside. He's got second place off of the AlphaTauri. Great start there from Che Oliver. He's jumped up 2 places and will start chasing down Blaze for the top spot. But he's only pulled up 1.2 seconds. Brilliant start from the Alpine. Couldn't have asked for more. Further back through, Zach Sherman up into P4 and could try and challenge C110P Fan for 3rd. Not going to try. It stays in line as they make their way through the old Singapore sling. Lucky Lambert up into 5th place. He's gained 4 places off of this start. He's like one of them at the expense of Ericsson in the Aston Martin. There's a rear view mirror full of PJ Callaloo, but he's got his hands full with a challenging Touchby Pope behind him on the inside. Pope's gained 5 places on his opening lap so far. He's only been halfway through. He's had a brilliant getaway. Avoiding the carnage has been the name of the game so far. BJ is down 14 places. Started P2. He's now down to P16. So things are not looking brilliant for him. And again, battling an Alpine and a McLaren he didn't think he'd be battling. Here comes Blaze then, through to lead the first lap of the Singapore Grand Prix. So 1.6 second advantage over Oliver, who may have just hit the wall there, if my eyes do deceive me. That's 2 seconds now. The advantage between the Alpine and the chasing McLaren. C110P fan back there in 3rd place, just 4 tenths off as it stands. Alpine couldn't have asked for a better start for both their drivers. A total of 4 places gained for Landau, and the lead held, and an advantage story pulled out for Blaze. So right, I just had to take a quick drink. Right, back into the action though. C110P fan has fallen back a little bit now, 7 tenths behind Shea Oliver. And Zach Sherman's trying to reel him in some way if he can. They make their way through the left-hander now. Let's have a look further back to the field here. Paris challenging JB, of course. JB 250th RDL start. He'll want to try and remember it with a brilliant race at that number 88 Mercedes. He'll want to score some points, but he's got the reigning champion Salve Landau right on his gearbox here as they make their way down that next straight. Landau already up to 13th here. This race may be all about damage limitation from him. He is certainly limiting that damage, but right now, Blaze and Fan are going to pull out a bigger lead in the Drivers' Championship, and for the sake of having a 3-way title fight, Sniper Hunter out of the race. Sniper Hunter crashes at the exit of turn number 3, and already the safety car has been deployed for a single car incident. Sniper Hunter in the McLaren. We're now 1 McLaren down in this race. Full grid, now down to 19. As we see the Mercedes-AMG safety car making its way out to the circuit. And that will not be what Blaze wanted to see, given that he's built that lead of about 2 seconds or so. He's keeping within the delta for the time being. So he's lost a little bit of time. However, Shea Oliver will have to drop back in order to avoid receiving a drive-through penalty. So, the calm after the storm now. Blaze crossing the line to complete the 2nd lap of the 31 that will make up this race. And it will completing the next few laps behind the safety car. So the order's changed a little bit since the start. Lycon gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pits. BJ also coming into the pits as well. He's putting on another set of medium tyres. And Lycon, what is he putting on? Let's see here. He makes his way down the pit lane. It's going to be a set of another set of mediums for the Lycon machine. Out of the pit lane he comes. Alvar back there in 19th. So the leader's now joining up behind the safety car midway through this 3rd lap. Alright, so yeah, exciting start to this one. Definitely chaotic to say the least. Of course, had that incident on the 1st lap. And things have definitely calmed down here. I had to wait for these next few cars to join up behind the safety car before we can get going again. Waiting for BJ, Lycon and Alvar. He's just making his way out of the pit lane. So I think we'll be probably getting going on lap 5. Potentially. Yeah, I'm thinking lap 5. So there are the leaders then. Shea Oliver has been given an absolute godsend here. Let's have a look at tyres for the moment. So of course things largely unchanged. So we're coming now for the end of lap number 3, once again behind that safety car. I'm thinking we'll be getting going on this next lap. It will depend how long it takes Alvar to catch up. Of course, he's on those hard tyres, which he's already done a lap. And there is the majority of the pack all right there. As BJ now back into the pit lane. He's done an extra lap on mediums. Like on stayed out. So BJ going for a different plan here. He should stay. He'll definitely stay in front of Alvar. There is last week's winner. Making the change. It's a front wing change as well. So he may have made contact with someone on the way round. So fresh front wing is able to stop under the safety car. That's his second stop of this race, along with the 2 that have been made by Alvar. So only 3 drivers have made their first stops. I don't have to worry about the rest of the race. However, of course, that rain is expected later on in the evening. So I have to wait and see when that comes about. So Blaze then will be no doubt thinking about how he's going to play this restart. He could potentially go at the exit of the last chicane, and it could go in that final corner. There's a number of places where he could really choose to try and jump away from Che Oliver as much as he can, because he knows that Che Oliver will be a threat on these restarts, as he so always is. Oliver so far this season has really played the role of being a thorn in the side of our 2 Alpines and AlphaTauris to an absolute T. And there's a reason why he sits in 4th place in the championship, because while he hasn't actually wanted to win a race yet, by God is he consistent. He's done a brilliant job so far this year. Almost pulled off a fantastic comeback drive in Zandvoort just a couple of weeks ago, which I will mention to the end of the season if I have to. But I'm just waiting now for Alvar. He's the last car to make it around. I think we may have to go one more lap before we can get back underway again. Didn't really expect him to take this long. However, we could get away potentially. I'm not quite sure. I think it'll be very late. And I think now, yep, it's definitely no chance. The safety car coming into the pit lane. We'll go one more lap and we go back to racing again on lap number 6. So things didn't quite go to plan for BJ on the opening lap. Of course, had the getaway, got off the line well, but Blaze came back onto the racetrack, and there was contact, which is unfortunate. As BJ comes back into the pits now, it'll be a 3rd stop of the race. Has he got another bit of front wing damage? We're hoping for his sake that he doesn't here. Coming now down at the pit lane towards the AlphaTauri box for the 3rd time is a front wing change once again, and it's another set of medium tyres. And away he goes. AlphaTauri down the pit lane and coming back towards the racetrack. This will put Alvar up another place. So before we get back onto the way, let's have a look at your now changed order. So Blaze shows the way as he has since the opening lap. It's Che Oliver up to 2nd. C110P fan still in 3rd. Zach Sherman had a brilliant start. He's now up to 4th in front of his Aston Martin teammate, being separated by Lucky Lambert. So it's Ericsson in 6th. PJ Khaled 7th. Touch with Hope doing again a great job for the Alfa Romeos, running in 8th place. Curtis in 9th, and Courtney Goblin currently in the last points paying place. It's Paris in 11th, JB 12th, Landlord up to 13th after that brilliant start. Iwadi 14th, Ethan 15th, Webbsy in 16th, Lycon 17th, Alvar 18th, and we're waiting for BJ to catch up to the back of the pack. He's in 19th, and Sniper Hunter out of the race. So one driver down. And there is the message. Safety car in this lap. Right, so they're calling the green flag already, but he can't go just yet. It's an unknown as to when he will choose to make that move. On a street circuit like this, there's only so much backing up he can do to avoid contact with anyone else in the pack. And what will anyone else try behind? If Blaze can catch Oliver out, chances are he'll catch out the rest of the pack behind him as well. And that'll be what he needs to try and pull away. The number 19 Alpine, our championship leader, will lead us back to the green flag at the end of lap number 5 and the start of lap 6 of this Singapore Grand Prix. He's really backing them up, and now he's getting going. Hasn't pulled away as much as he'd like. Oliver's still there with him by about 4/10 We're back on the way here on lap number 6 here in Singapore. And there's a spin in the back. And that is Iwardy who's gone around. Bad restart for the Williams driver, putting him at the back of the pack. And a bit of work to do now for the Williams driver. But Wardy thrives off a challenge. Blaze up front though, leading him about 7 tenths now. He's gained a couple on Oliver. Zach Sherman right there behind C110P fan. Further down the pack, here comes Pope looking to try and make a move. He ducks to the inside of PJ Callan, looking downstairs to make the way into the left-hander. He's going to get the move done. Shut the door, and that's going to allow Curtis Shepard around the outside. Potentially, he can get a traction. Brilliant move pulled off here. He's going to get it done. Brilliant move from Curtis Shepard. That puts him up to P8. PJ Callan down 2 spots on the restart. Paris now holding off Courtney Goblin for P10. He managed to get that spot away from the Ferrari on this restart. JB in 12th, Landlord still down there in 13th. Hasn't made much progress since we got back underway. We've only been underway for about a minute or so, so wouldn't cut him too much slack there. Oh, sorry, cut him a bit of slack. Fan back there in 3rd. As of right now, Blaze doing enough to expand his championship lead by 10 points. It'll be 32 points clear. Should things stay as they are. An instant for him here. A DNF could really, really open things up for the other 2 championship runners should they finish in the points paying positions. A podium finish for both Landlord and C110P fan. And a low point score, if at all. Oh, they've got a car going right. There's been a 2-car collision here. And that's involving Iwardy and... Sorry, that's involving BJ and Alvar. Iwardy may have got a piece of it, potentially. Nope, he's gotten away okay. That's 2 places now for what he's gained. But he's still about 4.2 seconds behind the next car. BJ now with a lost M plate. After winning last week, it looks like it's all gone wrong for him today. Blaze leads him about a second now over Oliver. It's another second back to C110P fan, and yet another second back to Zach Sherman. And you guessed it, now another second back to Lucky Lambert as well. Half second back to Ericsson in 6th place. And within that time gap behind him is both Pope and Curtis. Oh, they got a move on the inside there. There goes PJ Callan looking to try and get past Paris 282. Both of them managed to get past Courtney Goblin on the second sector on the last lap. Now these two are trying to go again for the 9th spot. Well, in the few racing laps we've had, it's been highly entertaining so far. We've got one of the Williams who's spun off there at the exit of, I believe, turn number 9. And that was Wardy who spun the car. The 2 Williams and the Aston Martin struggling here in the early going. Shea Oliver, 1.3 seconds behind Sammy Blaze. We're just waiting here for that rain to start falling. Yet to really see how great Oliver is in the wet. C110P fan hoping, or he'll be hoping that he can close the gap to the 2 leaders up front. He's 1.3, 1.4 off of Che Oliver as it stands. 6 tenths separating Lucky Lambert from Zach Sherman, meaning the Alfa Romeo driver will be in DRS range. There's a bit of a train behind him here. Going back to P7, that's supposed to be Pope in the other Alfa. Lucky closing a little bit, but not enough as of right now. No one really getting the run they need. Pope on those medium tyres hasn't been able to really show what they can do so far. Paris and Curtis also both on mediums as well. As Landlord makes the pass on JB for P12. JB, oh, just about managed to keep it out of the wall there. Yellow flag, and that's C110P fan is out of the race. And this is a huge blow to the championship hopes of the AlphaTauri driver, who plunges the car into the wall at Singapore Sling. What on earth happened there? For the second time tonight, the safety car is out, and this will be a hammer blow to C110P fans' championship hopes. And as of right now, Blaze will expand his lead by a full 25 points. He'll be 47 clear, or 48 clear, if he gets fastest lap, if things stay as they are. All of a sudden, the championship looking very, very open. The only thing that's opening is the gap between the leaders. And now it is down to Landlord to try and stop Blaze from expanding that advantage as much as he can. But it's also an opportunity for him to take away second place. But last season's winner in Singapore, unable to get the job done today. And he crashes at the Singapore Sling and is out of the Grand Prix. And we are starting to see the first drops of rain on the racetrack now. Could that have been the cause of his little incident? We're seeing a good number of cars into the pit lane now. I think a couple of drivers underestimated just how wet on the track it truly is. I see Lycon skidding around there. Majority of cars now on intermediates. Only 2 of them stayed out. And we've seen a few drivers at a disadvantage here. And there's Alvarez have been forced to double stack. Wet tyres going on Woody's car. Does he know something that perhaps the rest of the pack don't? That's the one change, the one difference in the strategies so far in this Grand Prix. So, the state of play here on lap number 9, more or less the same as it was. But, though that rain has come down, crashing down from the heavens. Lycon almost losing the car there. Really struggling on those medium tyres, and Websy struggling as hard. I wouldn't say that Lycon's going full pelt into the corners to try and catch the safety car. However, he will get a penalty if he drops too far back. So Lycon and Websy, I'm assuming we'll see those two into the pit lane now. Yes, here they both come. I'm thinking, if that's the case, we'll get back to racing on lap 11. But it'll be a very different looking racetrack to the one we were on just a few minutes ago. The order is more or less staying the same. Some changes here and there thanks to some teams having to double stack. Lycon serving that penalty for speeding in the pit lane earlier on. And there he goes. Intermediate tyres go on the car. And away he goes. Well, everyone on the racetrack now on intermediates. The only driver on wets here is Wardy. What is the game plan for the Williams driver? Whatever it is, I'm not 100% sure it'll work. He's sliding around all over the shop here. But everyone should catch up now. Back of the pack, and we should go back to going racing again. And this could be very chaotic on this restart. Blaze can't really go full pelt from the time the green flags come back out, because of the chance that he will light up those tyres and will spin out. So he's really going to have to ease into the start and hope that Che Oliver doesn't have anything for him. We're going a bit wider there. So as of right now, the championship will seriously change in the favour of Stubby Blaze. If it wasn't in his favour before, the championship, as I say, is 22 points ahead going into this one. As a safety car coming in at the end of this lap, as I predicted. And this will put him, as of right now, 48 points clear of both Landlord and Fan. As Landlord currently scoring 1 point, that's enough for him to tie second in the championship. So 48 points clear of both these two cars. Unless something also goes wrong for Blaze, in which case it's Landlord's opportunity to close that gap as much as he can. So he can still try and gain all of the places he can in this stage of the race. However, this part of the race will be all about survival. Look at the spray being kicked up from the back of these race cars as Blaze now rounding the final chicane. Trail over behind him once again. When does he go? There he goes. Oh, he's lost the car a little bit there on the start. Everyone's skidding around all over the shop. Oliver almost got off the track there. We're back on the way. And there's a spinner further back. Oh, sorry, there's not a spinner. It's Ericsson, but there is a spinner. And that's Curtis. Ericsson the pits. Curtis around. No front wing on that Mercedes. Blaze keeping going. He leads the way. His drivers have to adjust hugely the way they drive this circuit now, thanks to all the rain being sprayed up on the track. Zach Sherman looking to try and make a move on Chael, but can't go too late on the brakes. Got to be very careful here as to how he does things. Paris T32 up to 5th place now. He is on a rampage. He's got Lucky Lambert, the Alfa Romeo, as his next target for position. And that is P4, which is just apparently just 4/10 behind, but really falls away on these straights. The more technical parts of the circuit where he's thriving right now. The rain looks to be falling a bit less aggressively now. But look at the amount of water on that Aston Martin car. Blaze leads now, but 1.4 seconds. He's done a brilliant job so far on these restarts. Yellow flag, and that's Curtis around again. No front wing on that machine. As Ericsson gets around his outside. And just about manages to keep it out of the wall. BJ now passing Wardy. The AlphaTauri driver on a comeback here. Trying to make his way back through the order. So yeah, no front wing. Oh, I was under the impression there was no front wing on Curtis's car. I appear I was mistaken. There's M plates on the machine still. I'm thinking that's a glitch of some kind. Lap 12. Blaze leads then. Charlover in second. 1.4 behind him. Zach Sherman still in third. I'll tell you what, Zach Sherman's really taking advantage here of the misfortune of the AlphaTauri. He's up to P3 now. He started in 6th. He's now up to 3rd. And Paris T32 has been moving up places since this one got underway. He's been avoiding the chaos, which has been important so far in this Grand Prix. Ethan into the pit lane now. Oh, there goes Paris! And that may have just been the commentator's curse kicking in full effect. And there's a virtual safety car being deployed now. VSC out. Oh, he's ran to the back of Tuffy Pope, and Pope's front wing is gone, and Paris' front wing is gone. What was happening to Paris there? And the safety car for the 3rd time in 12 laps being deployed. And this is not what we thought was going to happen in today's race. So the safety car, for a 3rd time this evening, makes its way out onto the racetrack. And could there be any change in terms of tyres? Paris, not out of the race, but with a very frustrated Tuxby Pope down there in 10th place, who will lose a decent amount of track position along with the Red Bull. I doubt either of them are too happy with how that one just went down. This will put JB up into 8th place. And Landlord now up to 7th. He's done a great job so far into this race. There's still just under 20 laps to go. So anything can still change. Long way left to go in this race. Blaze comes through. He's been brilliant on these restarts, developing leads by the end for the first laps. And we're going to get back underway. Lycon letting Pope through here. Pope falling back down for the order. And there may have been a mistake of some kind that I've missed. As Paris to the pits. Pope into the pits as well. And Wardy also finds his way in, presumably to ditch those wet tyres, unless Paris also pits onto them as well. It's medium tyres for Paris. That's a confusing one. Wardy on to intermediate tyres. Front wing change for Pope. Inter's on the car as well. Paris, though, on medium tyres. What is he thinking there? Not at all what I would have expected. Everyone else staying out. They've seen no reason to come into the pit lane in the first place. It's been Blaze and Oliver since the start, more or less. But Blaze has been that bit faster throughout this Grand Prix. And I wonder just what Oliver's going to do about it. We saw a penalty there, which I completely missed, so apologies for that. And the incident being for Ethan ignoring a 5-second penalty, ignoring a yellow flag, a 5-second penalty there. So apologies, I wasn't sure as to who had that. 3 safety cars in the opening 12 laps of this race. Things not looking good. And this after a vote to reduce the conditions under which a safety car would be deployed. Very confusing, given the fact that I think we may have potentially seen more safety cars since. So this is one way to get to the bottom of at some point over these last few races of the season. Which reminds me of a tad bit of news regarding a calendar change after a vote from the drivers. The final race of the season will be taking place at the Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka, which to my knowledge is the race that we would have been visiting next. So Abu Dhabi will no longer host the final round. The 12th of December will be the last race of the season, and it will be held at the iconic Suzuka circuit, which has crowned a number of champions over the years of its history. Not sure yet if it's crowned a champion in the RDL. And if I remember correctly from last season, it was Pope who took the victory last time we were in the land of the rising sun. So this is it's an entertaining, or I say entertaining, it hasn't been the most brilliant of races. It's been a incredible amounts of rain, which I'm thinking will stop at some point during the race. I'm thinking it'll stop somewhere between lap 20 and 25, something around that, but don't quote me on that. Safety car in this lap. We wait now to get back underway. So here we go then, waiting just to get back underway. Well, I'm thinking Blaze will go in the exact same spot as he has been so far today. Does he make a choice to change? Look at the amount of spray being kicked up off these cars as he wait now to get back underway. And here we go. The race back underway. I've been informed that that I've completely missed Paris 232 crashing, so that's on me. So, apologies there, but he is out of the race. Can confirm that. Lost my train of thought for a moment. Blaze away by 8 tenths. And now make that a second already. He's had such brilliant getaways every single time tonight. So Che Oliver now once again giving chase. Zach Sherman right behind him in third there. Alvar a lot further back. Landlord now making 2 passes as Connie Goodman forced wide there. BJ and JB both taking advantage. Oh, and there goes Connie Goodman losing his front wing. He's put the car on the wall. Not quite out of it yet. The car is still going with 1 front wing less and a massive inconvenience to the car behind. And the safety car out again for the 4th time. And there is Lycon around in the Haas. With no end plate on the car, we didn't get to go 1 lap before the safety car got redeployed. What on earth is going on in this race? 4 safety cars within 15 laps. At this rate, we'll have to turn off the safety car to avoid having these out. It's quite honestly insanity. And something definitely needs to be said about the amount of safety cars we're getting in these races, because they're coming out for the silliest of things. Because due to the fact that Connie Goblin is a street saga, but Connie Goblin just lost his front wing, didn't really hold up many people in the field, and Lycon spun out of the way of a lot of cars. So something really needs to be said about what is going on with the safety cars in this game. I have to add that to a list, constantly building list of a bevy of faults with this game. BJ with a broken front wing there. So I believe he fell foul of JB and Connie Goblin earlier on. And there he goes running a bit wide there in the attempt to make it into the pits. Number of cars in the pit lane here. Curtis onto a fresh set of intermediate tyres. Wet tyres going on Courtney Goblin's car. Back on BJ's. And Wardy on the wets. 4 stops been made. 5 for BJ here. And we're only just reaching halfway in the race. That I'm thinking that he could even still potentially try and close back up to the leaders. You never know. This race, or if you can call it a race, it's been largely a procession. We've done around 4 or 5 full laps under the green flag. There are the tyres for everyone right now. So Blaze, I'm sure, will be, in a way, pleased with this as he continues to show the way. He's done a brilliant job on each and every restart. These short runs really playing to his strengths right now. As he makes his way through the right-hander there under that safety car. 2 seconds clear of Che Olivo, who's got to catch back up to the field, or catch back up to the safety car to avoid getting a penalty of any kind. We'll just be waiting now for this safety car to come in. We've got a couple of cars joining up to the back of the pack. That'd be Wardy. Oh, we've got a bit of spin over there. That's Ericsson, who's got no front wing on that Aston Martin. He's been caught by Wardy. It's Ericsson, we just about caught that in a sense. You can actually see the contact, but his front wing is now gone, so we got to pit to replace that. The majority of drivers in tonight's race have run into a skirmish in some way. Ericsson drive-through penalty now. Adding insult to injury for falling too far back. He can't serve that under the safety car. So I have to wait till we're back on the way in order to do it. At least to my knowledge. And I'm sure he won't want to serve it now anyway. Especially considering the fact he's got to replace that front wing. And there's the Aston Martin crew. You can see them in the distance getting out there ready for their driver to come into the pit lane. Meanwhile, the other Aston Martin, Zach Sherman's been doing a brilliant job so far. Still there in P3, on course for a podium finish. could potentially take 5th place in the Drivers' Championship should things go his way at this stage. So waiting now, still for a number of cars to join up to the back of the pack. Look at the rain still coming down here under the lights in Singapore. Hot and humid over the course of this one. And we're only on lap 17. There's still a lot of racing to be done as soon as we can actually get to said racing. The rain definitely hasn't helped matters. Our 4th safety car in this Grand Prix. I'm hoping that this will be the last one for the time being. And we're just waiting now for those cars for the back to join up with the cars behind. Shea Oliver now in the lead. I'm not quite sure what happened there. Again, I've completely missed that. Not quite sure what happened to Blaze there, but I am not with it tonight. I do apologise. I'm doing my best, but of course it's difficult to keep on going in the situation we're given with these safety cars, which again are coming out for the most asinine reasons this stage of the race. But Shea Oliver are now leading the way. I would have thought he would have to give the place back. I'm not quite sure what happened to Blaze here. He can't have spun, surely, because then he would have been a lot further down the order. I'm thinking, in all fairness, Shea Oliver may have to give the place back. I doubt he will. I don't think the game will make him give it back. I think if he does try and give it back, then it will force Blaze to come back behind and avoid getting a penalty. However, for a different leader, the first lead change in tonight's race. So it's Shea Oliver then who now shows the way for the first time tonight. And could this potentially be, in the situation we're going right now, could this potentially be the first race that he wins? Could this be the day? As the safety cars continue coming out over again. So we're just waiting now to get back underway in this one. Everyone's now at the back of the pack. Ericsson's joined up, fixed his front wing. No issues there. Keep an eye on Salve Landlord, who's still there up front in 6th place. He's done a fantastic job when you look at where he started. 12 places gained. Let's have a look at the position changes here. So 12 gained, by far and away the most gained by any driver in this Grand Prix. And BJ has lost 12, as has Ericsson. So things not looking good for them so far. However, still plenty of racing to go. They can try and get themselves back up the order unless we keep on seeing the safety cars. Look at the rain still pouring here. I'm surprised when I've seen a very few cars on wets. I really am. There's a safety car coming in this lap. Right, here we go. Back to racing. Will this be the time we get it right? Shea Oliver now the one in the lead. When does he choose to go? It's been Blaze for the first four starts, and now at the 4th restart and the 5th time the green flag's being thrown back out. 4th safety car restart of the day. It's Shea Oliver who leads this time, thanks to a mistake that Blaze made under the safety car. We could have a very entertaining battle here to get back underway. Zach Sherman is itching to get going. Look at Blaze backing up. Oliver's really slowed things up. I'm not sure why he's so far out in front. He's going just like that. Oh, he's gone wide there. That's not the best of starts. Blaze is going to close right back in. Back on the way. Oliver now with a 1.3 second lead. He went incredibly early when you look at it. Landor getting right to work here to the inside. Yellow flags. And that's Wardy out. And he almost took Curtis with him. And that might just be another safety car. If it isn't, I'll be very confused. I'm genuinely thinking that there may be no safety car. What on earth is going on? And I think someone definitely needs to have a chat with Cody's about the way that, or EA, about what on earth they've done to this game, because I do not understand why that incident doesn't warrant a safety car, yet a car simply losing its front wing and another car spinning out does. So someone needs a reduced safety car. So someone needs to have a chat with EA here, because as the racing community, we cannot have this. This sort of thing shouldn't stand. Lando now up to 5th place though, so he's giving chase after the end of my little rant. Lucky Lambert, 2.3 seconds off Zach Sherman, who's really gotten away here. Yellow flag for the back, and who is that? And that's Touchy Pope who's put the car on the wall. Front wing lost from the Alfa Romeo. Lycon dropping back here because Alvar looking at his inside. It's going to be very tight between the two here, so make the way towards the left-hander. And Alvar passing Lycon. And there's yellow flag again, and that's Curtis Shepard, who also has no front wing. It's a front wingless race. Back to the pit lane for these two. Let's give Exxon a chance to move up some places. Look at that, BJ almost already back him into points on this restart. Lap 20 is the first lap in a while we've done of full green flag racing. And we're waiting now. But will the track start to dry, and then when will it dry? If we're wet racing till the end, then I think we might get away with things on these tyres. However, we might see some late stoppers if a safety car comes back out. Curtis Shepard in touch with Hope now in the pit lane. About 2 seconds or so covering the top 3 here. Lucky Lambert closing back in to some extent. He's got to get back down to within 2 seconds. A landlord behind him in 5th place there. No DRS to be helping them. And Chalova, thanks to that restart, has really managed to get away here. However, Blaze will not let him just run off into the sunset. He'll try and give his all to stop the McLaren from winning this race. It'll be only 8 points he gains on Landor, but things are not looking good in terms of the Drivers' Championship for C110P fan. As of right now, Landlord's concern is getting past the Alfa Romeo, the experienced Lucky Lambert. And there's JB, speaking of experience. Again, that 250th start in the RDL. And here, making the most of it in P7, avoiding the chaos. So I'm sure he would have liked to have done a bit more racing over the course. But hopefully these last 11 laps will be what he needs. And could we see a race for the lead in a few moments' time as Blaze closes the gap on race leader Chalova, who's been waiting all season for his first RDL victory, and tonight could be the night he gets it done. With a number of safety cars it's in, a safety car now would probably really benefit him. I'm sure he'd like to lead him back underway and potentially get a few more laps under his belt with nothing happening and no threat to the top spot. The fact that Blaze has led so much of the way here, and yet he's losing this race thanks to making a mistake under the safety car, I'm sure he won't be too happy with himself. However, will maintain the lead of the championship, so all is not lost. If anything, he'll increase that championship lead, which is important for him. And Landon, right there, a bit of a skid there behind Lucky Lambert. He's managed to get away with it though. He's using the ERS to his advantage, but Lucky's also using his, so he won't gain as much as he would have liked. So Landon just giving chase on Lucky Lambert. Blaze about second back. Both Alpines struggling to chase down the rival they have in front of them. At this point of the season, I do say but with 6 rounds to go, it's about time that somebody gave the Alpines a challenge. They've had it far too easy in the Constructors' Championship at least. Lycon passing Alvar here around the outside to take away P12. Is the rain stopping? That's the question. Back up front here, 7 tenths now, separating Blaze and Oliver. 10 more laps to go in this Grand Prix. 10 laps from what could potentially be Taylor's first RDR victory. Zach Sherman jumping back here. The gap now 1.6 seconds between him and our championship leader. Landlord on the chase though, at the point where Lucky Lambert isn't using his ERS here. He's got about a fifth of it left. Make that a quarter as of right now. Lycon making another move here. He's alongside Courtney Goblin. Does he have the edge into turn 1? Yes, he does. Shuts the door on the Ferrari. That's back up front. Landlord giving chase now. Right behind the Alfa Romeo. Doesn't have too much energy left. A late move wouldn't do. Alvar making the pass on Courtney Goblin. This battle is still raging on between the Williams and the Ferrari. Shades of the 1990s, if you will. Of course, the area where Williams and Ferrari went head to head. Of course, their other rival during that time, a McLaren, now in the lead as it stands. And it's Alpine chasing them down as Toshi Pope gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple track limits warnings. So things not looking brilliant for him. Back there in P16. It's not looking like he'll score points at this stage. The closing phase now approaching in this Singapore Grand Prix. And Blaze is hunting down the McLaren, but with no DRS to help him, he's got to rely on pure driving talent and the ERS battery he has, of which Che Oliver has more. Yellow flag, sector 2, and that's Pope out of the race. And could we see the safety car out for the 5th time? I'm thinking not at this point. But the safety car, yet no sign of safety car here. We'll keep on going. Pope's car should simply despawn. And 5 drivers now finishing this race frustrated. Blaze now 7 tenths back. Make that 8. You can really see where he's trying to gain tiny turn. Later on the brakes than Che Oliver. He's risking his cars. Landon makes the pass on Lucky Lambert for P4. A second back from Zach Sherman. Could things still come up trumps for Salve Landlord, who, in the unlikely event something goes wrong for the 2 leaders, could get himself really back into the championship fight in that unlikely situation. If something goes wrong for Blaze now, then it'll be very unfortunate for him after he's led so much today. Which, in defence of everyone else, hasn't been too difficult, given the fact that we've been on a safety car for a good number of laps. At least half of this race spent under safety car. Blaze really sticking with Oliver here. Is to make the way off the corner. If anything, he's really closing in. Look at him go. Meanwhile, the reigning Drivers' Champion still pushing, trying to find his way forward. Try and get around Zach Sherman as quickly as he can, and try if he can to close down that 4-second gap. And speaking of, oh, there's cars going into the pits, there's contact! And Che Oliver may have been pushed to the pit lane there. Everyone coming into the pit lane here. I dare say the track is trying potentially. Yes, soft tyres going on cars. Here we go, this is happening. Che Oliver on soft tyres. BJ now in the lead. And it looks like Lycon has stayed out too. Che Oliver comes out in front of Sammy Blaze on fresher tyres. I should say those softs will last 7 laps. So everyone's got to tiptoe their way around the track in this first lap. Because the track isn't quite dry yet. Was this the wisest move? If Che Oliver can get away now, and he might have this one in the bag. Oh, I thought we had a car on the wall there. But it was just Landlord almost hitting the wall on the exit of the corner. This race has gone from dry to wet to dry again. And Landlord now has closed the gap to Zach Sherman. Che Oliver now leading, or in a net first place. As it stands, yellow flag, and who is that? That's Alvar, who's spun the car, and DRS now enabled. And this could make the end of this race a lot more entertaining. Perhaps not in the race to the lead, but for everyone behind them. Lucky Lambert, we wanted to stay in DRS range of Landlord if he can. Courtney Goblin, 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Things are really going to start getting going now. Now the rain has dried and the DRS is redeployed. There shouldn't be any more safety cars on the run to the end. 4 safety cars in tonight's race. We're hoping, don't need to add a 5th. However, a 5th would mean a decent amount of late race drama. And here comes BJ now off into the pits. Lycon also bringing it nice and slow into the pit lane. Oliver has closed up the gap and now going at full blast around the track. He retakes the lead and we'll see a fight for fastest lapper in the late stages. Che Oliver has that 5-second penalty, don't forget, for speeding in the pit lane. Now you could argue that Blaze may have shunted him a little bit on the way in by accident. That could potentially be enough to get that penalty revoked post-race. I think right now the best thing that Oliver can do is just try and expand that gap as much as he can. If he can get out of that 5-second window, and he's 2 seconds up already, then he could potentially still win this race. There's a lot of time to go, but he doesn't want to push those soft tyres too hard, because if they start falling off, then Blaze will be right with him once again. PJ Khaled now closing on Lucky Lambert. It's been a while since we've seen a drive racing battle like this. We rarely saw it at the start, thanks to being on the safety car for so long. 15 cars left. JB, 3-second time penalty, but it shouldn't impact him right now, as BJ is 5 seconds back. And he's also got a penalty of his own. Now Webbsy could be in a position to take advantage of that, as he's 3 seconds behind BJ, so could potentially take the AlphaTauri. He's made 6 stops today. That's unprecedented. Alongside Alvarez, also made 6 stops. 5 stops for Ericsson, 4 for Lycon, and 3 and 2 stops for a number of cars. No one's made 1. So there are your tyres for what should be the last stage. Yellow flag. And who is that? That is Lycon. He's made a mistake and gone around. Alvar and Courtney Goblin narrowly avoiding him here. 6 more laps to go. Che Oliver now setting the fastest lap of this race. 2 seconds clear of Blaze. And does the McLaren on those soft tyres have enough left in the tank to try and win despite having that penalty? Can Blaze stay with him long enough to avoid that fate and still take home the race victory? Again, unsure if that penalty will likely be revoked after the incident. I'll be sure. We can definitely bet that Che Oliver has clipped that in some way, send in, or recorded it in some way to send in to the stewards after the race to potentially get that penalty revoked, which would mean he takes the race win, provided he comes across the line first. But I'm sure he'd like to put that advantage just to put the race out of question. A mistake from Blaze would really help him do that, because he isn't really gaining much as it stands. Alvar passing Courtney Goblin. This battle is still going on. And Lycon now joining into it. Oh, he's gone very left the inside. There's a bit of contact, and that probably wasn't the wisest move to be making. So Lycon back down in 14th place. Courtney Goblin has gone a little bit wide, and he's fallen away from Alvar now. Alvar now 2 seconds clear, really going full pedal around this Singapore circuit now. Yellow flag, and that's Ericsson is out of the race. Now what will this be? Any chance of a safety car? There is the stricken Aston Martin on the left-hand side of the track. And it's not looking like there'll be a safety car. Now multiple different incidents that have not triggered one. Lap 27. Just under 5 more laps to go. Che Oliver doing everything in his power to try and expand that gap. Blaze trying to close him down. As of right now, he'll win this race. JB, 5 seconds off PJ Khaled, but on course to come 7th. Yellow flag! And that's Curtis Shepard, who's gone around. Could have caused destruction if anyone was there, but no one was there, so all is okay. Get back to racing now. Green flags come back out. 2 seconds now. That gap's been closed a little bit between the two leaders. It's been crucial for Che Oliver to not burn up those tyres too soon. In an attempt to avoid coming home second once again. Our gap is definitely closing now. Blaze finding another level of mileage, but only... Sorry, finding another gear... finding just another gear of leverage at this point. But, yeah, closing that gap. If he can get back inside DRS range, this race may just be beyond disrepute. Landlord now right on the back of Zach Sherman. If something was to go wrong for Blaze now, it would be a huge opportunity for Landlord to try and close back in the championship. Just a few points. As of right now, Blaze is increasing that advantage. Landlord to the inside. Came close to contact the Aston Martin, but now he's got the place. Will Zach Sherman try and come back at him though? No chance. Sticks right there in line behind the Alpine machine. Driven by the reigning champion. .8 seconds now the advantage for Che Oliver, who's looking like once again he'll be coming home second unless something does go wrong for Blaze. And provided he keeps things nice and smooth and brings the car home, he doesn't need to try and push for the victory. All he's got to do is stay within 5 seconds of the leader. And he's doing that nice and easily here. 1.5 seconds now the gap. That gap is closing bit by bit. Down the main straight we go. Lap 29. Does Zach Sherman potentially have anything left to come back at Landlord? Those medium tyres looking faster at this stage. Landlord closed quite a big gap. Check out over soft tyres. Oh, yellow flag. That may have been caused in some way by Websy, or potentially one of the other. Yellow flag again, and that is JB going... No, it's not JB going slow. It's Curtis Shepard going slow. It was a lap back. That's why I'm getting confused. The green flag's back out. JB will come in P7, provided he stays where he is. And provided the Websy doesn't close in. Largely thanks to that 2-second penalty. Or the 2 seconds extra penalty that BJ has over JB. It's been a 250th Grand Prix to remember in some cases for JB. However, not all for the right reasons. The safety car is definitely a large hindrance to what could have been some very entertaining racing. Whereas Blaze now gets himself within DRS range. A crash between these two now could put Landlord potentially back into the lead of the World Championship. He's in DRS range. Will Blaze get the job done? 2 laps to go. He's got this race on lock, provided he stays with Oliver here. He doesn't need to pass him. He just needs to stay right there. However, this is Sally Blaze talking about. Extra points are what he wants. Has he still got the fastest lap? Let's have a look here. Che Oliver has the fastest lap. He'll want the extra point back. DRS deployed. He's really closing in on the McLaren, who really goes up in front of him there. The fight's not over yet. Oliver's won this round. But Blaze is all over him. Snapping at his heels like an angry dog over the course of the lap. He's in a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. Shouldn't impact his final finishing position. Alvar 14.5 seconds behind him. Landlord 8.4 behind these two. Cheryl doesn't have much ERS left. Doesn't really got much more to defend with now. He has to do everything he can to keep the car behind him. Blazer not using his ERS just yet. He's going to save it all for the final lap. Yellow flag. And who is that? That's Curtis Shepard again. Going around. 2 tenths. Separating the two leaders. Courtney Goblin, 3-second time penalty. Again, all Blaze needs to do is follow Oliver for just one more lap. Last lap of this Singapore Grand Prix. I'm sure Blaze likes to take the win on track in case Oliver's penalty does get revoked. Perhaps Blaze knows that. Perhaps he knows he accidentally shunted Oliver and he got a penalty for it. So perhaps he's trying to get the win on track. So it doesn't have much effect. Here he comes now. It'll be one of his best opportunities. Oliver, poor exit there. Here comes Blaze making his move. He ducks to the inside. I'll be the outside for the corner. Oliver's trying to break him. He falls back into line. Salway Blaze in the final lap retakes the lead of the Singapore Grand Prix. But it might not be over yet. Oliver trying to come back at him wherever he can. Yellow flag, sector 3. And that is Curtis around again. Oliver 6 tenths back and losing time rapidly. Those soft tyres may just have hit their peak and are dropping off at a rate of knots. The DRS here will be his last chance. I just don't see him being able to pull it off from where he is now. I do think Blaze has this one in the bag. And once again, it'll be Che Oliver coming home in 2nd place. It's been a brilliant duel between these two. A constant chase between a champion and a challenger. And this time, once again, it'll be the champion coming out on top. Che Oliver will have to stay hungry for that first race victory. Short of a penalty for Blaze post-race for shunting Oliver going into the pit lane. It's going to be the championship leader, Salway Blaze, increasing his lead in the World Championship and winning the Singapore Grand Prix. He bins the car over the line and Oliver crashing into him for good measure. Here comes Landlord now. The reigning champion takes home 3rd place. Brilliant race from him in the end. Zach Sherman, consistent all night long, home for 4th. Lucky Lambert behind him in 5th. PJ Khaled caught by BJ there and put himself out of penalty range for JB, who will come home from the end of his 250th Rodial Grand Prix in P9. And they jump head first, or almost head first, into the crash fest. Ethan takes the final points pay and place in 10th. 14 finishers at the end of this Singapore Grand Prix. You can hear the fireworks already going off. Salway Blaze is AR there celebrating inside the car. Curtis again struggled all night long. Put himself a lap down. And Che Oliver once again coming home in 2nd place. As you can see, the driver, he's been trying to beat all night, celebrating. Stuart Matson said about that little shunt in the pit lane at the final stops. The decision to change on the softs may have cost Che Oliver the victory. The mediums look at the tyres beyond those late stages. And once again, it's the championship leader Salway Blaze on top, winning for Alpine once again in the Racers Driving League Season 13. And with just 5 rounds to go, he leads by a dominant, completely dominant 32 points. And is a step clear of all the rest behind him. A disastrous evening for C110P fan. who now has a huge mountain to climb if he wants to, at any sniff of winning this championship. A three-way race for the title may actually become a one-man race. And Blaze, should he hold on to this lead, has the opportunity to potentially wrap things up with at least a round to go. Blaze wins the race then, Oliver home in second, Landlord home in third. Zach Sherman takes away fourth, Lucky Lambert fifth, PJ sixth, BJ seventh, Webbsy eighth, JB ninth, and Ethan in 10th. It's Alvaro home in 11th place, followed by Connie Goblin, Lycon and Curtis Shepard. The final finishers today, Ericsson, Pope, Wardy, Paris, Fan disastrously, and Sniper Hunter all failing to finish. So with that, that's the end of tonight's coverage of the Racers Driving League Season 13, Round 17, the Singapore Grand Prix. I do hope you enjoyed this one as much as I did. It was a bit boring at times, we enjoyed it. Nonetheless, had a great race. Make sure to join us next week for the USA Grand Prix, Austin, the Circuit of the Americas. So make sure to join us then, 14th of November. Until then, you guys, we shall see you next time. Goodbye.